Look at this. Oh, it stopped being as flat, but that's pretty cool, isn't it? Reflection of the buildings on the water. Anyway, real-time update. I just thought that was a nice backdrop, but now a car has arrived. Yeah, I still haven't got used to this whole filming in public business. Like, it makes me shy. I don't know why. But yeah, real-time update, because it's been a while. Part of the reason it's been a while is because, as you know, I am at work. That was meant to be up until tomorrow, so in theory I could have left yesterday and gone back to the boat, but I have extended for 2 weeks because a few reasons why I've extended for a few weeks, but I'll get onto that later, because the main thing I'm sure everybody wants to know is, wait for the seagulls to stop interrupting. I'm sure what everybody wants to know is what's happening with the other boat. I keep getting asked, so I'm going to go to the beach, open a wine, and I'll tell you all about it. Just looking out there, just over there is where my engine broke for the first time. So on this episode, I was out there and I was terrified of that ever happening. And yeah, just out there is where it happened. And yeah, quite a lot happened here last winter. I remember being anchored over there after the engine had broke. Even worse, I remember being anchored over by St. Maxime. And then, actually, around about this time last year is actually when I left here from over on the episode An Icy Anchorage from just the other side of Saint Tropez over there. And then I never came back this way until obviously that was the end of summer, really. But yeah, I was just thinking about it. Anyway, back to it. What is happening with my boat and the other boat? I don't know. As far as I know, it's a yes. There's been an agreement, shook hands. It was originally it was going to be at the end of January. They was going to do it, but then when I said I was coming to work, they said, "Oh, that suits us better. It gives us February to get the personal stuff off the boat, etc." So the problem with that is he seemed as desperate. Probably isn't as desperate as me because I need that boat to happen, but he was a bit anxious about what if I changed my mind as well. So as far as I know, that's what's happening. The problem is I don't actually have their contact details. They've only got mine. So I did say I was finishing work on the 18th. Obviously today is the 17th, but I'll get on to that. So as far as I know, it's still happening. What I'm probably going to do is, if I don't hear anything in the next few days, I'll send an email to the port, because I need to anyway, because I've kind of abandoned my boat there. Some of them I think are aware I went to work, but yeah, I probably need to get in contact with them, if nothing else, to check that my boat is okay. I'd planned to go back to it at least once during the month I've been at work in the middle, but then when it came to it, it was going to cost me like 27 euros that way, 27 euros back, and obviously I didn't work that many days in January, so the money I got paid at the end of January needed to see me through this month, so it just didn't make any financial sense to go back. And visit it just for the weekend. It had been more or less a whole day getting there and more or less a whole day then getting back, because actually where I am there's not a direct train station, so I have to get a bus for like an hour and a half, then the train, and then the train station in Cassis is way out from where the port is, so yeah, didn't make any sense to go back, so I'll probably make contact. What if it falls through and I don't get the other boat? people keep asking me this. I'm just trying to be oblivious to it because I can't do anything about it now. It will be very frustrating because this new boat saga has been going on since before Christmas. And actually, what then happened is, because that's what was happening, it made no sense, because he said yes ages ago before he actually came. I think he was just a bit skeptical that I wouldn't actually sign it over and then he might get stuck with the problem. But the normal procedure you do is they give you the paper and a letter which you both, a document which you both sign and have a copy of, stating that you now own the boat. So he wouldn't have had a problem either way because he would have had that document stating that someone bought the boat off him. So I don't know why, but anyway, yeah, he obviously don't want a problem coming back on him, and maybe I don't look very trustworthy. But yeah, as far as I know, it's going ahead, and yeah, if it doesn't, I don't really know. My boat is not really in any fit state to go anywhere, and yeah, because I thought this was happening, I didn't spend the winter doing anything to my boat because A, I didn't really have any money, and B, I planned on like just doing everything I could do without spending any money originally. But if I'm then inevitably going to end up probably having to give it away to get rid of it, did I want to put loads of time, effort into it? Ideally, yeah, I could have done all the work so that I could potentially have sold it, but as I say, this one that I'm potentially getting was up for sale for $2,900. It's really hard, I think, to sell boats in the winter, which there's just so many out there that even if I'd have got the inside looking immaculate, it still had a broken rig and been very difficult to get rid of, so it didn't make any sense. If this one falls through, there is options. There is another free boat which I could have had ages ago. The issue is, in a lot of ways, it's worse than my boat. The engine, I don't know if it starts, and there'll be more about this on the videos that are coming up, so I won't go into great detail about it now. But that is an option. It probably could sail, but the rest of it's a bit of a mess, so it doesn't really make any sense. And I don't know if the engine works. I could take a battery to see if the engine works. Initially I looked at it thinking potential in the winter to make some money from it, but I'm not in a position to have a few boats dotted around now. During the winter I maybe would have been. The other thing is, after here there's going to be a real rush, because regarding cost of the port, I can't say too much about it because I don't know who watches sometimes, but if they charge me now for all the months I've been there, I'm going to be but I don't think they're going to. So, but if I end up staying too long, then it's going to become a bit of an issue maybe. And they've been super friendly, so I don't want to annoy the port. So there is the problem. If I get back there, I won't have long before I need to leave. My boat is there because it's broken. So I don't know. We have to keep our fingers crossed this other boat happens. Then if I have to give mine away, so be it, and then we go. Where we're going, I don't know quite yet, but yeah, that's what's going on with that boat. It should still be a yes. If I had the guy's number, I would contact him myself, but contact happened through the port, so I should hear any time now about the date he wants to go and sign the papers over. I'm hoping it doesn't become a thing that then there's going to be another month, because yeah, then I won't really know what to do. Anyway, I'll change the location. It's getting a bit cold, and tell you some other updates. So by change the location, what I meant was that I'm going to sit on a rock. Other updates, work. So I was due to have finished the contract tomorrow. They offered I could stay an extra 2 weeks. There was some other potential work, but I can't say that much about that because, again, you don't know who's watching. But I think it weren't going to happen. because of somebody I don't get on with. More or less, that's all I'm saying on it. But the campsite that I'm actually working on, they've extended me for 2 weeks. I've not signed it yet, so if I wanted to run away, I could run away tonight or tomorrow, because it's Sunday tomorrow. But no, I'm going to do that. It makes a lot of sense. This means I will have a month's wage, and that money will be then what I live off, basically. So it's not going to have opened up a bigger chunk of money, which means I can go spend loads of money on the boat. But because I'm meant to be getting this off the boat, I shouldn't really have to spend much money on it, or I can't spend much money on it anyway until I earn some more money. So I've been thinking a lot recently about what to do after this. If it had been possible to have extended for 2 months after this work, it is something I'd have really thought about doing. I probably would have done it, but I'd initially said as well, I will have to, in that time, go and get my boat, because I can't leave it there for the 2 months. There's not a place. So I'd have to go either move it around to a different port around there, and yeah, would have done the 2 extra months work, but it's now not on the table. It's not an option. So we did last summer do reasonably well on the boat trips I was doing without actually putting that much into advertising it and stuff. I couldn't put the boat I had, on Click and Boat, but you basically on there have a list of things that are working. So by the time I'm going through that list, it wouldn't have been worth the headache of people requesting refunds if they weren't happy and stuff. However, with a working boat, that does become an option. And I am going to do an episode, because I know people always wonder, are you allowed to do boat trips, all the rest of it. I'm going to do an episode about that. I've done half of it already, so yeah, I will do the other half of that. But I have had an email recently, the other day, asking when I'm back doing the boat trips again, because they know somebody who wants to book one. So, of all things we've tried over the last year, that did stick a bit, and there was, by the end of it, once it started to happen a bit and people were spreading the word a little bit, there was that period during like the end of July and August where on some days I actually did have back-to-back boat trips. And you know, this came without doing any sort of like advertising locally. It was only what I could advertise on Facebook. Whereas I've thought quite a lot about this recently, and I think that's what I'm going to have to go with. It's not like I'm going to be able to come out of doing this and go sail around the world. Do you know what I mean? I am still going to have to earn money, and I think other YouTube channels do as well. Obviously, the more popular ones are actually, whether they tell you this or not, if a channel, say, has about 13,000 subscribers and each video is getting, you know, 5,000 views, YouTube is paying them some money. It might not be a lot, but the same channels often have quite a few Patreons or coffee buyers, and I think, you know, they're probably earning enough that they can live. So, and a lot of channels as well go and do full winter's worth of work to then go fund the summer. What we're trying to do is keep going and just earn where we can, and the boat trips probably got me through last summer. So it's not like, oh, this work ends and that's the end. The financial boost will allow me to live for a bit, and I think I calculated the other day that if you spent €5 a day to live, you could live for a year, I think, or just under a year. It might have been 360 days. The maths, can't quite remember. But, you know, living off €5 a day, it might sound extreme, but it's not. But anyway, you could live off €5 a day quite easily. However, it's not that that's the expensive part, is it? It's every time you have to go into a port, and again, to go onto other sailing channels, riding out some nasty weather in a big catamaran is one thing, whereas riding it out in a little sailboat, I've done it. It's scary, it's uncomfortable. I did it more than once, do you know what I mean? But if we actually think about it, on a whole, we didn't have to go into port that much. In fact, once I'd like left Cannes, other than that 1 week I spent in a Gulf Shuan, I was at anchor, apart from the few times I had a boat trip. And because I had the boat trip and was making a bit of money, it just made sense to have a night in the port. Like when I'd done back-to-back boat trips, I could drop people off. If I was dropping them off at like 11 after the fireworks trips I was doing, a few times I didn't stay in the port, and it meant coming back out and going at anchor. But it depends what we're earning. But I always need to make sure I've got some money there in case I have to go into a port. That's the biggest expense, I think, living on a boat, other than when the boat breaks, is the port. So yeah, if I come out of this, I've got a few things I need to pay afterwards. My phone's obviously been broke now since Christmas, so it's like, I actually survive all right without it, but there's some things that aren't ideal, like I probably need to replace it, but we'll see what we do about that. And I have 2 phone bills outstanding, so I need to pay them. But I think overall we'll come out with about, after paying off the stuff I need to pay off, let's just say a round figure of €1,000, because I'm now extended, so that can go quite far until I work out what else I need to do. And I did do a logo design the other day, which I got paid for, so there's odd bits out there that will come up. I think I just need to not give up on a lot of the things I tried to do last year, because they did work. The boat trips, they was actually quite popular. I had really good feedback. I already have the page now where there's good reviews and stuff, and if I actually put a little bit more time and effort into it, maybe I would do even better. So yeah, right, I'm going back because it's getting dark, and then I will go through the last part of this update. Alright, so we're back at the caravan, so you're going to have to excuse the poor lighting. I'm sorry about that. I wonder if I put them above lights on, if that improves it a little bit. Yeah, the lighting's always pretty bad on a night time. So it's something I need to look into, because I've always had this, even on the boat when I'm filming at night time. I think I've said before, I probably need to have one of them weird influencer rings with the little light. But anyway, yeah, so another part of the update, we've already covered what's happening with the other boat. People have asked me as well, how's work going? It's going all right. Like I've actually been recording for it little bits. I haven't been recording as I normally would, where I'm like picking the camera up and showing you what I'm doing, because I don't really think anyone's here for that. But then someone did say to me the other day, I think people probably do want to see it. So if you let me know in the comments, I am interested to know what people think. The last real-time update I posted, when I said about me coming to work, I actually lost about 6-7 subscribers, and I don't have that many, so that was a bit of a hit. But yeah, I know myself from when I watch sailing YouTube channels, be a bit like, oh, we came here for a boat and now we're watching this guy in a caravan. What's that about? So I do get it, but I am interested to know what people think. But on a whole, work, it's going all right. There wasn't necessarily a backlash, but I think in the last video I did where I said a few things about the caravan and stuff, I'll just say I am really grateful to the people I knew who got me the job and stuff, and the campsite director on here, because actually it's for a overall same company that really don't want to give me a job, and someone has gone out and said, no, forget that, like, you can have a job for a month, and then extended me for another 2 weeks. And it was actually one of my patrons that I used to work with who got me the job. So just to say, so everyone's clear, I am grateful to have this month's work. In one of the videos, I'll probably explain a little bit more about why it maybe weren't such an easy decision, but yeah, overall, I'm grateful, and I don't really know what I'd have done otherwise. I'd been for 3 months just scraping by on the boat back in Portmew, and I knew that, yeah, I needed to do something in order to be able to move forward. So I am grateful for that. And the work, actually, yeah, it's going all right. The other day I was actually, some of the things that I've learned while living on a boat actually has improved my ability at doing work things. Like I sewed. When you're sewing, what's that? I sew. I don't know how you say that, but I did that. And before actually having to learn how to sew, when I had that broken Genoa, I wouldn't know how to do it before. Whereas now I'm like sewing pro. I know exactly what I'm doing. So yeah, some of them things actually tie up quite nicely with some of the work I've been doing. I actually did a bit of woodwork the other day. I had to rebuild a window frame basically, and as I say, some of this stuff will be coming up, so I won't go into great detail about it. But yeah, work is going all right. I've got 2 more weeks because I've extended, and then I'll be back to the boat. Another thing regarding the updates is I haven't really been putting much on recently. As I said just before, part of that is I'm not sure how interested anyone is in me working. And real-time updates, I'm doing this one because a bit of time's passed, but the reason I was doing them back in, you know, when I was around Porkerall, is because the videos were so far behind. But the videos at the minute aren't necessarily behind, they're pretty much up to where I am. So putting them on, I could put an update on what I've been doing at work, but it's not really going to be about the boat. And there's been a bit of a while since the last one because, yeah, I'm not, as I've said earlier in the video, I'm not that sure what I'm doing regarding the boat. And a really big reason is YouTube on a whole. It's hard sometimes not to get frustrated with it, because when I first started this, I used to pick the GoPro up and say just whatever I wanted to say. And where I've probably gone, not wrong recently, but what maybe stops me is I've then seen slowly, and especially over the summer while I was at anchor and things were a bit of a mess, a bit of a drop. And because it's a small channel, when then people who used to comment quite regularly don't see anymore, it it's not necessarily the overall like viewing numbers or, oh, this video got this many views. To an extent, it is sometimes, because the last video I put on, I put quite a bit of time into what I thought would make it work quite well at the beginning, and then actually YouTube didn't show the video to anyone, and it's probably the lowest viewed video I have. When I was like super excited when I put it on, thinking this video is going to do really well, and then it just didn't get shown to anyone. I'm sure everyone who's probably watching this update has seen it, but it didn't. I don't think it's on 150 views. The watch hours on it are still decent, because as I say, I think it's mainly people who watch every episode, so because of that the watch hours are still quite high on it. But yeah, the views, it didn't do too well. It's not necessarily that's the worst part of it. It's, you know, when you're putting things on and then you're just saying what you want to say, or whatever's actually happening, and then you see it kind of declining, and you think, oh, am I doing this all wrong? And then you get stuck in this sort of thing of, do I need to do it so that people watch it? But then that's never really what I wanted to do. So I've had a bit of a think about this recently, and I think I just need to put it real like I always did. And you know, if it eventually does well, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But what I'm finding I'm doing at the minute, it's almost like a writer's block, but a YouTube version, is if I'm overthinking what I'm going to record, then I just end up not recording anything. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. So for the next 2 weeks I'm at the boat, so I'm not at the boat, so I won't record that much. There will probably be one episode of where I'm at work. There's some episodes coming up where it's about like last year and some of the things I've done. And I did do a live at the time when it had passed 1 year living on the boat full time, and I am going to do an actual episode about that. It's going to be in an interview sort of way, like, so if you do have any questions, put it in the comments, and when I do that episode, I'll answer your comment question in the episode itself. So yeah, other than that, we're at work. We have a little bit of a plan. The plan's as the plan always has been, to just find a way to keep going. I'd love to be able to sit here and say, right, yeah, next summer I'm doing this, and this. All I'm doing really is doing everything to make sure I can carry on to live on a boat. But what is important is I'm going to try do a better job of filming some of the stuff, because in year one, quite a lot of the stuff I did a fairly bad job of filming it. So that's where we're at. I'm looking forward to getting back at the boat. I have actually, when recording down at the beach today, been recording a bit of an episode that will actually be a real episode, not an update. So yeah, it's trying to keep back at it. And actually, just while we're on the subject, if you saw any of my knot shorts, I have still been practicing that flying bowline. I'm an absolute pro at it now. But I recorded them on a day off a couple of weeks ago, thinking, yeah, I can do this every day. And then actually, it didn't happen. But what I am going to try to do is, I won't get it, but I've got a navigation book up there, and I'm going to just really try on my evenings to be doing a bit more, because I do find I've quite quickly then gone back to normal life, if you like, of coming in after work and watching something on the laptop, having my tea, watching something, going to bed. And then what that ends up doing is, I feel like I'm not actually doing anything. Obviously I am, I'm earning some money, but it just feels a bit pointless sometimes to sit here on a night time and not do anything productive or anything towards what I want to be doing. So yeah, I'll try to get a few more knots out for you. But that concludes this that concludes this real-time update, and still here, working, earning some money so that I can get further forward. And worst case scenario is we don't get that other boat and then we'll have to work something else out. But to sum it up, if I was to go back to when I just left Porkerall and I was in here and I posted a real-time update from there next to that like boat that was beached, I honestly just didn't know what I was going to do. And this is now, that would have been back in end of August, September, October, November, December, January. That was actually quite a while ago because it's now February. So, is that right? That can't be right. Maybe it was actually in September. I think it might have been in September, but still September, October, November, December, January into February. So that's 6 months at least that's passed since I thought, oh, we're stuck here, I don't know how I'm going to go on. And actually, now we'll have earned, as I say, we'll probably walk away with about 1,200 after I've paid. So then potentially that's a few more months. So there's hope. We're doing all right. So on that note, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks to the patrons and everyone who supported on Coffee. And I will say a big thank you as well to Gary and Sailor Boy #1, because every time I post an episode, and I've just been talking about people disappearing, they're always there as soon as it premieres. So thanks for that. I do appreciate that. So yeah, see you next time.